Shalom from Israel. I'm Hananya Naftali here with the latest on Israel's bold, game-changing operation against Iran, known as Days of Repentance. Israel just unleashed a powerful three-wave airstrike against Iranian military sites, a move that sent a direct message to Tehran. Israel will defend itself against any aggression, no matter where it comes from. So, make sure that you stick around to not miss this important breaking news update. But before we jump into it, first of all, in a world of fake news and censorship, I urge you guys to make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel and to my Telegram channel to get real-time updates from Israel and the Middle East. Israel launched the Days of Repentance operation, a forceful response to Iran's recent ballistic missile attack on Israeli soil, using over 100 aircrafts, including cutting-edge F-35 fighter jets. Israel struck more than 20 critical targets across Iran. These weren't just random hits. Each wave targeted strategic locations essential to Iran's military power, missile production sites, secret drone facilities, air defense systems, all the tools Iran has been using to bolster its aggression against Israel. Iran has been playing a high-stakes game, openly challenging Israel, supporting terror, and launching direct attacks. So Israel answered back. But let's be clear, these strikes weren't just a retaliation, they were a warning shot. So here's a key point you need to know about this strike. Israel, unlike its enemies, was very careful with its approach. While Iran recklessly fires rockets at civilians, Israel focused only on military targets to avoid harming innocent people. No nuclear sites, no oil fields. This wasn't about ramping out a conflict. It was a necessary move to hold back Iran's aggression. When a bully crosses the line, sometimes the only language they understand is strength. Israel showed Iran that it's not afraid to act. Iran may see itself as the heavyweight in the region, but Israel just showed it that it is not going to be pushed around. It's just like David versus Goliath, the small David that has taken on Goliath and defeated him. And you need to remember, those who sow violence will also reap destruction. It's a biblical truth that stands the test of time. Iran claims its air defenses intercepted the strikes and that only limited damage occurred, as well as 2 IRGC soldiers belonging to the Iranian regime that were killed in the attack. But we see Israel dismissed it. It's a total failure for Iran. The truth is that Iran's air defense systems couldn't stop Israel's precision strikes, and they know it. These strikes also targeted systems that Iran has been using to try and block Israel's aerial operations over its territory. In other words, Israel just made sure that if it has to fly over Iran again, it can. Iran has been hiding behind a veil of intimidation, but Israel just tore that down, doing a favor, by the way, to not just Israel, but to Arab countries around Iran and to the Western world. Because for years, Tehran has been enabling terror proxies across the Middle East. Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, militias in Syria, Yemen, Iraq. But here's the reality check. Israel is not going to let Iran dictate its future. Now, what's really amazing is how the Israeli Air Force managed to pull it off. The operation was executed with the kind of precision that few militaries in the world could manage. A 2,000-kilometer journey, which is roughly 1,200 miles, 100 planes, strategic radar blindings, and pinpoint targeting. The IDF's intelligence and planning were beyond impressive. According to an Israeli source, the intelligence gathered was practically science fiction. Israel knew exactly where to hit, and it hit hard. I know that the regime officials are trying to play it down, but it's because they're too embarrassed to admit it. In wars, by the way, intelligence is key. It's the backbone of power. And in a region where knowledge is survival, Israel's level of preparedness is a lesson in self-defense. It's better to be proactive than reactive, especially when you're surrounded by threats. And you have to remember, even King David didn't wait for Goliath to strike first. He took the initiative and won. Now, I want to pause for a second and talk about the name of this operation, Days of Repentance. That's an interesting name for a military operation. And it wasn't chosen lightly. In Jewish tradition, the Days of Repentance lead up to Yom Kippur, a time of reflection, accountability, and seeking forgiveness. Israel is calling out Iran, calling them to account for their actions and to understand that their violent path has consequences. Iran's government is leading its people toward destruction, and Israel is drawing a line. This isn't just a warning to Iran, it's a wake-up call for the world. Because for years, Iran has used its proxies to attack Israel and spread chaos across the region. However, now the tables have turned. The days of repentance, they're not over. Not for Iran, not for anyone standing in the way of peace. Look, there is a time for patience and there's a time to act. Iran has ignored every warning, every diplomatic measure, every ounce of restraint Israel shown. And now they're seeing the consequences. Israel is not going to be held hostage by terror, not today and not ever. Before these strikes, by the way, Israel gave the US a heads up, but it made it very clear that this was Israel's mission, not outside help, not interference. The Biden administration, by the way, recognized Israel's right to defend itself, but there's always a but, urged caution around Iran's nuclear sites. Here's the thing. The whole world is watching and they know what's on the line. If Israel's allies don't stand with us now, they're showing every rogue regime out there that they're soft. Thankfully, representatives like House Speaker Mike Johnson and others in Congress have made it clear that they have got our back, fully supporting Israel's right to hit back and defend itself. But meanwhile, leaders from the United Kingdom and other allies called for restraint. Let me say this. If these nations were enduring even a fraction of the threats Israel faces, they would be acting too. Israel is making decisions not based on world opinions, but on what's right for its own people. And that's what true leadership looks like. The world can't keep playing neutral. Evil grows when it's ignored. And Israel is standing against it because it must. The fight against terror isn't a task that can be outsourced or sidelined. Today it's Israel. Tomorrow, who knows? It could be you. But the big question is, what are we expecting to happen here in Israel? So following the strikes, Israel's Home Front Command didn't change its alert levels, signaling to Israelis that there's confidence in Israel's defense and readiness for any backlash. But I gotta say, I don't think that Iran will hit back because, first of all, this was a response to their attack. And they also know that Israel did them a favor by not striking more targets. And they know that they don't have the support of the Iranian people, unlike in Israel, where the public strongly supports decisive actions by the military. So make no mistake, Israel is keeping a close eye from Iran's borders to its proxies in Lebanon, Gaza, and everywhere in between. Tehran can spread all the propaganda it wants, but Israel sees right through it. That tough talk from Iran, it's just fear in disguise. This operation has shown Iran that Israel has the means, the intelligence, and the will to defend itself. Every time, without hesitation. Israel doesn't take pleasure in war, but it won't shrink from it either. Iran's leaders need to make a choice. Either they pursue a destructive agenda, dragging the region into more chaos, or they back off. Israel is not the one in the wrong here. It's Iran's regime that has chosen to provoke. And if Iran continues, Israel's response will be even stronger. So if we conclude the whole drama, this is where we are at right now. Israel has drawn a line. I want to make it clear that this is not just a military standoff. It's a battle of values. Israel believes in life, security, and freedom. Iran's regime, it has been spreading hatred, violence, and destruction. Israel has shown the world what it means to stand up to terror and protect its people, no matter the cost. Perhaps some world leaders can take a lesson or two from Israel about having a backbone. So make sure that you guys are subscribed to my YouTube channel to not miss the latest insights and updates straight from Israel. because staying informed is staying prepared. And remember, supporting Israel goes beyond watching. I invite you to check out the Israel store to stand with Israel against the anti-Israel hate out there. This isn't just about politics. It's about standing for what's right.